Right, am I starting? I'm starting. Or you normally start. You start, go.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining today for the launch of the CCLS Colombia chapter. It's great to welcome you here today. And this is one of a series of launch events that we've been organising for the rollout of the new chapters. So it's going to be an informal event, and after Professor Ian Walden speaks, you'll then get to hear from Professor Rodrigo Olivares Carminal, who's banking and finance law and also is the academic attached to the chapter. He has a particular interest in your jurisdiction. We also have present today Professor Uma Suthasavan, Chair in Global Intellectual Property Law. And after you hear from them, we have our chapter lead, who's Dr. Germán Dario Flores Acero. And so it's very informal. There'll be an opportunity for you to chat, tell us a bit about what you've been doing, and perhaps reminisce about your time at CCLS, as well as perhaps share any thoughts about what you might like to see out of the chapter. So over to you, Ian.
Thank you very much, and a very warm welcome to all of you. As Celia said, I'm currently director of the Centre for Commercial Law Studies. I'm also Professor of Information and Communications Law, and for my sins, I have been at the Centre for 29 years. So I show a distinct lack of imagination in terms of career development, but I'm very proud to be the current director of the centre. I hope you're all well, and I hope you're surviving under current difficult circumstances. Clearly it varies from country to country, but we are here today, as Celia said, to initiate a new CCLS alumni chapter for Colombia, which is really a long overdue development. We have had students from Colombia for many, many years, and it is only appropriate that we now bring you all together to give you an opportunity to facilitate professional and social networking, and also to maintain strong and productive ties between yourselves and the centre. So we are very pleased to have you here today. I haven't yet visited Colombia, but I have great hopes once I can visit anywhere other than the local shops. CCLS, we have been in lockdown since January. We're now in our third lockdown in the United Kingdom. And so we're continuing to teach as ever in Paris, in London, on distance learning, but everything is online currently. Hopefully, most of you will be aware that last year, 2020, we celebrated our 40th anniversary. We have many great events planned, all of which, or most of which, had to be cancelled or converted from physical events to webinars, and we hope you were able to attend some of those. CCLS, over those 40 years, continues to expand. We offer the widest range of commercial law options, we think, in the world. But we'll stick to at least Europe at the moment. We offer our students opportunities to enhance their employability options. Some 350 students can now engage in activities such as legal advice through our Pro Bono Legal Advice Centre, Q Legal, through mentoring or internships. We've recently had 2 of our LLM students on internships with a company you may have heard of, Airbnb. They're interning, in fact, with the office in California, but still in London, I'm afraid, not being able to travel. But so as well as the widest and most dynamic offering of LLM subjects, we've built up the opportunities for employability experience for our students as well. We are continuing to have an impact on public policy. Julia Hornler has last year published a report on online gambling, which has led to reforms of legal and regulatory practices in many European countries. Duncan Matthews in the field of IP has been in the media recently because of his research into access to medicines, which clearly in our current vaccine-dominated circumstances is highly relevant. And of course, we continue to carry out the ideal that led Sir Roy Good to set up the centre some 40 years ago, and that is to ensure that commercial law, by bringing together academics and practitioners, can be an important and effective tool for development. And one of the examples of that Rodrigo has been involved with Rosa Lastra has been the establishment of the Sovereign Debt Forum, which is designed to provide advice to developing countries in handling sovereign debt issues. And Rodrigo has just, in fact, obtained research funding to carry out some further research in that area. But the Sovereign Debt Forum recently had an event which was attended by countries as far as wide from Benin and Uganda, Cambodia, Guinea, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So incredibly impactful work that is being carried out at the centre. And of course, you, our alumni, are an incredibly important part of the CCLS family. And that's why we're establishing this chapter here today. As I said, it's about both professional and social networking, but we also hope it's an opportunity perhaps for you to engage in some lifelong learning opportunities. We are developing ever more executive education programs that can update you in arbitration or intellectual property, or learn new skills such as public affairs advocacy. And we hope it's also an opportunity for you to give back, perhaps through mentoring current students, because they really value the opportunity to have a mentor who can talk to them about their careers, or supporting perhaps scholarships and bursaries. So there are many opportunities, and this is really just the start of both a new chapter and a new chapter. And we very much look forward to having you with us. I'll now hand over to Rodrigo, who, as Celia said, will be the academic lead for CCLS. I unfortunately have to leave to go to another event now, but once again, can I just reiterate, welcome and thank you and enjoy. Take care.
Thank you very much, Ian. Well, welcome everyone. We can do this in English or Spanish. I think that I will continue in English as this is being recorded, but I will have the role of being the academic lead, or the academic who is attached to this chapter. I've been to Colombia on many occasions with Germán. We did in the past already 1 or 2 informal alumni events, and I hope that basically this is just the beginning of many more to come. For example, myself, next week I'm speaking in Colombia for Universidad Nacional. I'm doing a presentation to prospective students who might want to come to study in the UK. So I'm giving them a teaser of a lecture. I have prepared, actually when this popped up in my calendar today, I said, oh, I have not prepared the slides, but it was another Colombian event. Basically the one in Universidad Nacional is next week. And I will be presenting about how you can perfection debt contracts, and how you can have the possibility of preempt distress situations and probably take an interest holiday. That means to suspend interest payments for a given period of time until you overcome financial difficulties. I will use that as a teaser, which is linked to a little bit the current environment, the crisis with COVID, etc. So I will be using that particular topic next week for Universidad Nacional. And on an informal conversation at the beginning with Germán, he was telling us about the 50th anniversary of your commercial code. And I think that would be a great opportunity to continue the work of this chapter, probably see if we can put together a Queen Mary event on the anniversary of the code, and each one of us bring our expertise and share about our experience. And Germán was talking about modernization and see whether there are things that we can learn that can be beneficial. And also, I think that you should not underestimate, because you have some exceptional features, or you had one for a while that you don't have anymore, which I remember, and I many times use this as an example in my classes, that you were able to freeze the tax regime for a period of time. And that's something which is very useful, particularly in emerging economies, where there's kind of this constant fluctuation of norms and regulation that make things very unpredictable for foreign investors. And I thought that basically that was a great Colombian invention. And I think that basically that's something that should definitely be exported to many other economies. But what I would like to say is that this pandemic has accelerated unavoidable changes, and I think that basically, of course, it would be much better to do it in the old town in Bogota, but probably having a drink and chit-chatting in a more relaxed environment. But basically, we need to take advantage of the fact that we have these tools and that we can make this happen very easily, and we can bring people from all over the world. I personally think that even if we go, when we go back to normal, I'm hoping to maintain, I don't know, 30-40% of my curricula done online, because I think that basically this would be the future. And I think that basically students need to be exposed to different environment, different working conditions. And I think that the fact that we can all be in this room, and I don't know my colleagues, but basically in 2 weeks time, I'm organizing a conference with people from Africa, California, London, and Washington. And we are all in the same room at the same day, at the same time, without the hassle of flights, jet lag, etc. So we need to also look at the positives of this. And I think that basically Germán taking the lead, I think that probably we can arrange something, and we can pull a nice event all together to give more momentum and make greater noise in Colombia for not just for our alumni, but also for prospective students and others in the industry out there that should know about Queen Mary and how proud we are about Queen Mary. And I think that then the other thing is what Ian and Celia were mentioning, that this beginning of the chapter should be a new beginning, even wider, in the sense that you are our ambassadors, and you are the best advertisement that we can do of the university. So we want to work very closely with you, and we also want you to help us bring up the new generations of Queen Mary alumni. And we are involving our alumni in mentoring programs, in students who happen to be here that they do not know how they can advance their career, how can they develop, etc. Just to pair them with someone to talk on 3 occasions. These are sessions of half an hour or so, and give them a little bit of a more professional life coaching. Because basically, I know that the mentoring scheme is not something that it's very common in Latin America, but that's why I put it more kind of a life coaching, where you tell them about how they can develop professionally, how you can see them, what are their options, because when you are studying, sometimes you get a little bit confused and you get a little bit anxious as to how you're going to develop professionally, or what are your options, or what you can do. And that's an important role that you can, having gone through this, you can play an important role. And not just that, but for example, we have also a good friend of mine is the head of the banking and finance practice at Baker and McKenzie in Argentina. For the last 2 years, he has taken the lead of the whole LATAM region. So he's the head of banking and finance in the region. And he also is an alumnus from Queen Mary. And we have an agreement where we can, where they can hire our students to do internships there. And Felipe, I was in conversations with your firm in a different jurisdiction about doing something similar, about employing some of our graduates to do an internship to help them develop, etc. So these are also opportunities, because we are also trying to bring together not just the academic experience, but also develop the professional experience. And that's why Ian mentioned that we are working in giving them more, building a third semester where we will be working more in issues of advocacy, drafting skills, more professionally oriented courses. Because basically what we are trying, we understand that the world is changing, and we need to change with the world, and we need to imprint a greater dynamism to what we do and have better prepared graduates. Not only expose internationally, not only having exposed them to what Queen Mary has to offer academically and what the City of London offers for them socially, but also have better prepared academics, fully rounded in not just the substance, but also how to apply that in practice. I think that that's pretty much all what I have to share, to say and share with you. The other thing is, you know that you can always get in contact with Celia, with Herman, or with me. We have, besides the usual communication means, I have created a CCLS LATAM group on LinkedIn that basically I would be very happy to add anyone there and to have a point of contact, an up-to-date point of contact. But I'm sure that there will be more things that will come up, and I'm sure that Celia might remind me of something else, another means of communication that we might have with alumni, but we can discuss that afterwards in a more informal conversation. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Celia, now I should give the floor to Herman as our ambassador on the ground, so he can introduce the chapter. Herman, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much, Rodrigo, and hello to everybody. It's really a pleasure and honor, like, to promote the CCLS chapter in Colombia, and also I am very happy to have such an amazing group of alumni here. I know most of you, and you are doing excellent in the Colombian law. So actually, I think the best the best of Queen Mary is the community around there, and Queen Mary in Colombia has become very important over the last years, and mainly it's because of the alumni. So I remember when I studied in Queen Mary like 11 years ago, uh, like most people in Colombia just talk about the traditional universities in UK, like LSE or Oxford or Cambridge. But over the last like 10 years, Queen Mary is extremely important in many areas of the law and in Colombia. And thanks to the work of Queen Mary here and the academics, many Colombian students are going to Queen Mary, not just to Oxford, LSE, UCL. And also the idea of this chapter is to make like close links between the Queen Mary academics and the alumni in Colombia. Like as Rodrigo says, doing events, academic events, maybe doing a mentoring program, help also the like the young students that come from Queen Mary to have good jobs, because we all know the high quality education that we have at Queen Mary. So and I remember when I returned from London, like to having a job and things like this was not that easy, because this change between United Kingdom and Colombia is quite complicated. So it would be good to support these new students that are coming from Queen Mary and help them to have good job positions. Also, in some areas we are like leading here. So in this group, I'm seeing a lot of people that are doing arbitration in a very successful way. People that are working in commercial law, in finance law, in intellectual property. So that's, we are like leading like a lot of fields of the law. So my proposal for this year, as Rodrigo says, is to organize an event, because it's the 50th anniversary of the Colombian commercial code. And this is extremely important, because we all know that we are living in another society, and the code should be like should have some reforms more according to the technologies that we are living now and the society that we are living now. So it would be amazing if, as a CCLS alumni group, we organize an event for the celebration of the 50th anniversary, making some comparison between the reforms that commercial law have experienced in Europe and the United Kingdom over the last year, and how this experience it can be taken into account in Colombia to have a modern commercial code. And obviously the idea is to have the support of the main academics of the Queen Mary. That's why we honor here to invite Professor Lucas Mistelis and Professor Uma Sudersanen, that are like very important professors in intellectual property law and arbitration law around the world. So after like I finish, I would like Professor Lucas and Professor Uma to have some words for you. So you can you can contact me at any time, but I know some of you. I'm gonna give you my details on in the chat. But the idea, because we have already a WhatsApp group of the Queen Mary alumni, would be amazing if you are there too, and organize this event and see if we can do like more activities with the Colombian chapter of Queen Mary. Maybe some publications in the near future in English, something like this. So thank you very much for this invitation, Celia and Rodrigo, and I would like Professor Uma and Professor Lucas to have some words for you.
Thank you, Herman. And Lucas, if you don't mind, because I have another call, I'll just be very short. Just to say thank you for inviting me to this. I actually recall, Herman, if I'm not mistaken, the first time I went was the first meeting of the Queen Mary Law alumnus. And we had a really nice message from the British ambassador welcoming everyone to start that new thing. And I'm amazed to see, what you've done with it. in that period. And of course, we really want to keep the good links with our alumnus in Colombia. I mean, for me, partly because I'm dying to go back there again. It will be my 4th time, and I will finally make it to Medellin and Cartagena. And as I was saying before that, it was amazing going to places like the Salt Cathedral and Botero Museum, and yes, it was also fun giving lectures. Herman dragged us to give lectures at least 3 separate universities. But it was good because I ended up meeting one of my old students, Luisa Herrera at Externado. And only a month ago, I'm in contact with the WIPO Academy for doing LLMs and intellectual property around the world. And it was such a specific request. They said, do you know anyone in IP who is a female and a Spanish speaker and does not come from Argentina? And I was like, that's really odd, isn't it? I was like, yeah, Luisa, of course. And they've connected up now, and WIPO is so happy because they've never had a Colombian faculty to do. They're going to do an LLM in South America. And I think what they were trying to do is to try and get more South Americans like Colombians onto their books, so as to, talk about different experiences and different laws. And as Rodrigo has said, you have amazing provisions in your law. For me, for intellectual property, and most of my Colombian students at Queen Mary have always done the protection of traditional cultural expressions and traditional knowledge. And you do have very interesting provisions in your IP code as to that sort of protection. And we've been talking about that as well. But I've also been so happy to follow you, Herman, in your career. And I hope other people's careers, for example, you've had these copyright revisions in your laws. You've also had a lot of what we're having in Europe as well. There's this paradigm and this conflict between internet regulation, freedom of speech, freedom to trade, really, and privacy complications. I think some of our students have really gained learning IP and IT from Queen Mary. But I just want to say I'm so pleased to see so many of you, and good luck with it. And if you know anyone who needs to talk about intellectual property in the vaguest sense, as well as specific queries, of course, for Queen Mary, don't hesitate to give my name. I am not just a professor, but I'm also the deputy director of the Queen Mary IP Research Institute, and I think we would like to do something which focuses on South America and IP in the near future. So I hope you can take part with us as well. Good luck. So nice to see you all. And you still look young. This is amazing. I'm gonna mute.
Lucas, would you like to speak next?
Yes, happy to do so. I'm delighted to have been invited to join. And I'm also delighted to see at least 4 former students and 1 current student. That's a very nice blend to have. I haven't been able to keep up with everyone, but I'm delighted that the alumni provides an opportunity to do so on a regular basis. I cannot brag that I've been to Colombia. I haven't been. So I've been to a number of neighboring countries, and there have been a couple of occasions where a trip to Brazil was to Colombia was combined with other trips in Chile and Brazil, and they were really forthcoming. But of course, as you know, in the old normal, people used to get too busy and too tired running around. That's perhaps one of the problems. I have, I think what is very interesting, and of course, from my perspective, is that alumni groups are doing best if they're self-run and if you really develop the activities that meet your needs. And of course, with Queen Mary and LLM graduates, we have an interesting dynamic that there are post-2007 graduates and pre-2007 graduates. And of course, there are also Paris program graduates, and there's a London program graduates. So there's not much interaction between the Paris and the London programs, and that's a good opportunity to encourage them. I'm happy to see at least one from a Paris program attending. And also in the pre-2007 period, as you know, we had an intercollegiate LLM, and Queen Mary was the provider of, or the exclusive provider of courses in arbitration, but also in banking, finance, etc. So if you look, I mean, some of the people have been keeping in touch, Santiago Talera and Maximiliano Rodriguez, I think they were both LSE students, but they really think that they have benefited greatly from Queen Mary, and Queen Mary is mentioned in forewords of their books, which I think that's a very good accolade. But Herman is right. I think subject to all the efforts of all the people who they have done, and having strengthened the faculty with people who come from Latin America, like Rodrigo and Gabriel and so on, I think Queen Mary is now a place to first choice for most people, and that's an excellent example. I do keep professional contacts with Colombia quite a bit. I'm involved in a number of cases that have a Colombian element. Some of them have been in the public domain, so there's nothing confidential that is said here. I was in one of these very few public hearing arbitrations before Christmas, being cross-examined by the lawyers acting for the Colombian government, and of course people like Eduardo Zuleta have been good friends for many years, and sort of really leading figures in the arbitration in Latin America. So I would very much hope to be able to support you. I would very much be happy to contribute if there were to be an event on the and I'm just another former student just joined, Andres. I would be happy to contribute in whatever way, by either doing something myself or identifying people who will do that better than myself. And I would very much encourage you that you engage in all possible respects with all of us.
Thank you, Lucas. I don't know if anybody would like to say a little bit about what they're doing now, and perhaps any memories of your time at Queen Mary. Who'd like to go first?
Hello.
Andres.
How are you? I just arrived. I'm sorry. I'm late, but I would like to say hello to everybody. I studied at Queen Mary 10 years ago, maybe 2008, in the arbitration school. Since that moment, I've been teaching here in Colombia at Universidad Externa de Colombia. So I'm the leader of a research group of international contracts and dispute resolution settlement. Also, I'm based in China, even if I'm a professor in Colombia. 2 years ago, I arrived to China, and I've been studying in China an executive MBA. So let's say I'm in between the teaching of international law and also learning about business and administration. I got my own law firm here in Colombia, 1493 law firm. We do a little bit of different fields of international public and private law. Let's say I'm very thankful to Queen Mary because my experience in this university allowed me to do an international career. So many thanks for giving me the floor.
Thank you. Who would like to go next?
Hi, I am Paula Posada. I don't have any problems with the background now. You can see me, I hope so. And I studied I finished my LLM in 2017. I worked for Takeda. It's a Japanese pharmaceutical company. And I loved my experience in Queen Mary. And I'm sure that the job that I have now, that I love it, is a cause of many things that I learned out there. You mentioned earlier Professor Duncan Matthews, and he was my supervisor in my dissertation, and I have been seeing some lectures that he have been doing and research regarding vaccinations in this time. So it's really good to see and to keep in touch with the people that you met out there. And it's a great opportunity to have this chapter here. As Herman mentioned, we can be like ambassadors. I'm really proud of the university and of the things that I have learned. So and also the mentoring opportunity that you mentioned, I'm really open to that. So if you want, maybe we can talk about how to do that, because for me it was a bit difficult when I came back. I resigned to my job and went to London, and at the beginning it was not that easy to find a job, but it's something that you can share with some young students and to let them know that even though you can be in a time where you cannot find the way, and it's not a bit easy to find the job that you want, at the end you are going to get it, because you will have all the tools that you need to find it. And it's a great opportunity, and I will do it another time, of course, to leave my things here and go back again and study and to learn and to meet the people from all over the world. It's a great experience. So thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much. Anybody else like to speak? Philippe, thank you.
Thanks, everyone. And I'm very glad to be here and to meet you all. I'm not so glad to see that I'm probably one of the most senior ones. So I'm reluctant to say the years in which I was at Queen Mary. But I may say that it was an absolutely great experience to me. Actually, I chose Queen Mary as my place for the honeymoon because I got married and get there the day after for 1 year. So it was a wonderful time for me. I'm currently a partner at a law firm in Colombia. I was just saying at the very beginning, this is PPU, Felipe Prieto Carrizosa, is a very large name. And I do corporate M&A and commercial procedures, which is insolvency and arbitration. And I'm very much interested in mentoring and participating in academic activities. I've been a teacher, a professor at the law school of Universidad Javeriana in contract law for many years now. So it might be quite interesting to make some time of interchange. And also probably it will be helpful to bring people from Queen Mary to lecture or to present the college to our young associates in firms, not only in mine but also in those which gather in the Legal Service Camera, which is a chapter of the Colombian Association of Entrepreneurs, which is one of the biggest guilds that we have in Colombia, and I can provide some access to that if Queen Mary might be interested on that. So thank you so much, and again, I reiterate my interest to participate in all activities as much as possible as I can. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I was wondering whether Camilo and Olga would like to speak and say a bit about your story for those who might not know about it.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Camilo Ramirez. I am a lawyer from Universidad Javeriana, and I did my LLM in Paris in 2014. I did international dispute resolution and economic law. And afterwards, I came here to Colombia and became professor of Universidad Javeriana. I'm right now a professor in private law, international commercial law, and in many matters in many aspects of private law. I also have my firm, and I'm a partner at a firm that is called MBCR, Marquez Barrera Ramirez, Castañeda Ramirez, in dispute resolution and in real estate law. I'm also a conciliator and arbitrator in Superintendencia de Sociedades, and I've been focused my path on dispute resolution after my great experience in Queen Mary in Paris. And I'm happy that Professor Mistelis, who was my supervisor also for my dissertation, is here. We had some conversations about coming here in Colombia, but maybe we lost some contact, but I'm great. I'm happy to see you here. And this is my wife, Olga Lucia. I'll let her speak.
Well, hello everybody. I'm really glad to be here and to see you all. As Camilo said, we did our master together in 2014 in Paris. We did the Paris program. Rodrigo was one of my main professors there in the banking and finance law program. I want to say that I find this space really interested and value. Because, for example, Herman is a really close friend of mine, and I think that Camilo and I took, or was one of the main reasons why we decided to study in Queen Mary was because of Herman's experience and what he transmitted it to us in that moment when we decided. So I think that these meetings and to meet each other and to be in contact and to keep in touch with each other and with prospective students, it's really important to make stronger this community, this Queen Mary community in Colombia. So I'm really happy to have this space. I'm working right now also here in Bogotá in the Superintendencia de Sociedades. I worked there since I arrived in Colombia, so my path has moved a little from banking and finance towards corporate law, but that's how life it is. Sometimes the jobs, jobs opportunities change a little bit our profile, but I'm really happy, and I'm of course putting in practice all that I learned in the LLM. So very nice to see you all, and thank you for this meeting.
Thank you both. Would anybody else like to say anything at all? Anna Maria might.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Ana Maria. I'm actually the only one, I think, being here as a current student. Actually, I'm taking some classes with Professor Mistelis that is here. As you mentioned, I'm one of his students right now. I'm currently in Colombia, so it's been hard to take some online classes because of the time zone differences, but it has been a really good experience. I January start, so I'm just 1 month or less in classes. I hope to see you soon and meet everyone, and looking forward to help with every activity or any events that you might like to schedule and to plan.
You are muted, Celia.
Celia, you're on mute.
Sorry, I was just saying, lovely to have you, Anna Maria. Is there anybody else who would like to speak before we perhaps just finishing off? It's just worth saying that Germán's available a bit longer after this scheduled event, if any of you would like to chat for longer. But otherwise, would anybody else like to speak? Otherwise, we could perhaps talk about any possible activities that you might like to share in terms of ideas for the chapter.
I would like to talk. Hello, everybody. My name is Martin Velasco. I think I'm one of the youngest ex-students or alumni here, which makes me a bit nervous, but I think it's nice. I was a student at Queen Mary between 2017 and 2018. I studied the LLM in Intellectual Property Law. And I don't know, I think that the year at Queen Mary and in general in London was the best year of my life. It was one of the craziest experiences that I have had. I went there straight away after I graduated from the undergrad program. I studied law at the University of Los Andes. And currently I work at a law firm on intellectual property, a law firm called Estrategia Jurídica Nacional e Internacional. And I work in trademark law and industrial designs and patents. And I'm very interested in these meetings and in the events of this Colombia chapter, mainly because I'm interested in music and, in different interests apart from law. I don't know, video games, culture, books. So I think it would be a good space to, meet people from Queen Mary who have similar interests and who could explore that in their time in London, because I did it. So I went to a lot of concerts and a lot of events. So I'm very interested in that. So I hope that I can find, people who want to do that as well. And I'm very open to participate in the upcoming events.
Thank you. Germán, is it worth saying anything a bit more about perhaps future activities, do you think?
Yeah, but yes, my idea for now is like to create like a little committee to organize this 50th anniversary of the Colombian Commercial Code as a Queen Mary event. I think we can make it between April, May, so to plan it in advance. The idea is to have the academics of Queen Mary, obviously, come with Professor Uma, Professor Lucas, Professor Rodrigo, and Ian, like to try to make an event with all the branches of law relating to commercial law, like arbitration, like intellectual property, like finance, and so on. And yes, so we are already, I think most of us are already in the WhatsApp group, so we can there talk about it. But if you want to just write me down or chat me in WhatsApp, we can do this committee. But I don't know if now from now somebody wants to be part of it, of this committee to organize the event. The idea is to have an event that combine like the things that Queen Mary are doing at the moment with the Colombian experience in commercial law, and like to propose to society what changes could be made in order to modernize the commercial code. Besides like another ideas that the group want to do, obviously. So yeah, and that's all, Celia.
Thank you, Germán. We've just got a couple more minutes. I don't know if anybody else would like to speak. Otherwise, do feel free to stay on to chat further with Germán. It might also be worth mentioning that there's, as well as the WhatsApp group that Germán mentioned, and also the LATAM LinkedIn group that Rodrigo talked about earlier, there's also a Colombia chapter LinkedIn group. So hopefully you have joined that. And I think that might have been put into the chat earlier. I'm just trying to see. But otherwise, yes, it's in the chat further near the beginning. So there's three means of communicating, really. So
before we finish, also Professor Lucas told us to mention about the new Queen Mary UNIDROIT Institute of Transnational Commercial Law. That would be good to hear about it.
This is a fairly new joint venture of Queen Mary and UNIDROIT, and we are in the process of strengthening and sort of organizing some funding, hopefully also through the Glass-Smith Foundation. And this is to look at all areas of activities that UNIDROIT does, from cultural heritage to microfinancing, agrocredit, mobile equipment, sort of secure transactions. Of course, the UNIDROIT principles, international commercial contracts, and the ALI, UNIDROIT transnational rules of civil procedure. So we are planning a series of events, and I know that in Latin America and Colombia particularly, there's quite a bit of scholarship on transnational law and lex mercatoria. So it's an opportunity to explore it. As you know, English law is historically keen, but currently rather conservative towards mercatoria. So working on these networks and trying to keep the events international and global would really be beneficial to the Institute.
Thank you, Professor Lucas. And no, just to finish, because it's already 9 and I know everybody's quite busy. So you have already my details here, and we can discuss about the event in the WhatsApp group, and just to remember to join the LinkedIn group for the chapter of Colombia and the Latin American group that organized by Rodrigo. So thank you very much, and you can count on me whatever you want, and let's be one successful chapter in Latin America, because the Brazilian and Argentinians are doing quite well with the chapters, so we have to lead these chapters. We cannot be behind them.
thank you everybody for attending today, and also special thanks to Herman for leading on this chapter, and thank you Rodrigo, Uma, and Lucas for attending as well. So do feel free to carry on chatting if you like, but I'm going to stop the recording and hopefully see you again soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.